Yo, what's up guys, it's Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of my F1 2016 career mode here for the 2018 season, and we are here for the Japanese Grand Prix. And first off, straight off the bat guys, I've got to apologise for no replay cams in this video and also no drivers and constructors standings, because basically I was recording replay cams. I went into the replay cam section, I pressed triangle after the race results, and basically when I went on there my game just froze. On the race start, the 5 red lights, it just froze, and then basically I had to close my game with Task Manager, but luckily my game has saved. So on the quick race save, I moved over to Kota, which is the next race, but I didn't get a chance to show the drivers or the constructors or the replay cams, so I do apologise for that. But this is one of the things that does happen. Also, when you're modding, sometimes you do run the risk of sometimes the game obviously losing optimization, and this has happened to me a couple of times before in the Mick Schumacher career mode, and it just happened to me in this episode. Luckily I didn't have to redo the episode, so that's very, very fortunate. So anyway, we're now going to focus on this episode, and we're here for the Japanese Grand Prix qualifying, and I've just set a bank lap on mediums, but we're now going to go for our proper good lap on softs, because there is rain expected for the race start, so there is no point in qualifying on a harder compound tire. So here we go then, through the first couple of corners, a really nice run through there so far. Now as we go into the S section here, nice run through there, keeping it nice within the track limits, nice sort of swooping run through here, using the gearing to really try and get the nose in there, and using 5th gear throughout to really be nice and smooth and consistent with it as we now go up the hill through the left-hander, and we've finalised the S section, and now we go into the Degners. So Degner 1 is coming up right now, first sector split, so far so good. Degner 1 6th gear, use of the track, and then Degner 2 down to 3rd gear. Make sure you don't extend on the outside curve because that can be very slippery for the tyres as we now go up the hill into the Kobayashi hairpin here. 2nd gear corner, pick up the apex, try and get some nice critical traction, which is going to be very important for this squirt on the power as we approach Spoon, which is going to be the next major breaking point here. So far a really good lap. I'm currently up quite nicely on my previous lap time, and here we go then. Find the 100 metre ball on the right hand side, or even the 50 if you're feeling ballsy. I normally use the 50, and they go down to 4th gear, then short shift up to 5th momentarily, then back down to 4th, maybe even 3rd for the second part of Spoon as we now get on the power, and we now power it through on the back straight across the second sector split any second, and you prepare yourself now for the infamous 130R, which it's going to be severely modified in next year's game, but so far this is pretty easy, absolutely flat out, as we now drop it down to 3rd gear for the final chicane, using all the track, really pushing the brake limit there, and pushing the brake section there, as we now go out through the final corner, trying to pick up some good traction, keeping a nice tight narrow line to the inside, and it's good enough for P3, and that is a brilliant lap there to actually get myself up that heart of the grid. That's the best qualifying all season, so it just goes to show in a track where obviously the straight line speed deficit is neutralised, and the corners come into play, along with the upgrade that we had in Spa. It's pretty much a level playing field, and we've got some really good pace around here. So a really good qualifying session there, beating Alonso, who qualified a few places further down the order, but P4 in the end by the end of the session once everyone done their laps, and Bottas is in P3, so it's going to promise to be a very interesting race. So let's jump straight into the Japanese Grand Prix. Right, so here we are at race day at Japan, and if we could really put some distance between myself and Bottas today. He's on my left hand side, I got relegated to P4 right at the dying embers of qualifying, and basically if I can win this race, then the championship is within reach. I mean, we've only got 3 more races to go, and this is round 12 out of 15, so like if we really honestly pull one out of the bag today, we could really put some serious distance between myself and Bottas, and actually give myself a really good chance for the World Drivers' Championship. So, with 35 points clear, technically we'd need at least like 15 points to maybe win a 2 races to go, which would be nice, but we'll have to see. Bottas is always going to try and fight tooth and nail to try and beat me, and he beat his teammate Lewis Hamilton in qualifying, so it goes to show that he is pushing at the maximum of that Mercedes ability. Ferrari locking out the front row with their upgrades is really paying off, and they're still so quick, and they're going to be hard to beat today, but luckily the wet conditions are conditions that I tend to excel in, so let's hope we can try and make something happen here today. And yeah, without further ado, we're going to jump straight into the race. Right then, here we are, 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix. It's going to be lights out, and away we go. Bottas, what a launch off the line from him there. Come on, Ferraris, box him in. I need the Ferraris to work together here. Looks like they have boxed him in quite nicely. I've had a pretty good start myself, holding my position here as we got the inside of turn 1. Bottas is looking for the move. Both Ferraris going side by side here. I'm going to have to sit behind Ricciardo as I'm sort of boxed in. Can I get past Valtteri Bottas here? I'm going to try and out-traction him, and yes I have. I've gotten past him, so I'm in the P3, now we've got both Ferraris up ahead, going side by side through the S's here, no way through. I've got a little gap here though, can I go around the outside of Sebastian Vettel? Can I make it work? Yes I do, nice move there, up into P2. Ricciardo, absolutely incredible start, up into 1st place, and crucially Bottas has stayed in P4, so let's try and get the hammer down now, and can I get past Ricciardo? early on here and try and get the first place and pull away, because that's going to be the ideal scenario here today. So running a little bit deep onto the gravel in the Degners there, but not too bad. I recovered quite nicely, so let's try and settle with them now, get a head down and try and focus on getting past Daniel Ricciardo here. Okay, through the front chicane, I'm pretty close to Ricciardo here. I think I might have a crack at possibly making a move. I've got a bit of distance out to Vettel. Here we go, with a snaky exit, but fast up of the race for me here. So I've got the pace and I've got a nice toe on Ricciardo here. The straight line speed really working for us here. And I'm going to look for the inside on the Honey Badger. Can I make it work? I'm going to run up very wide, but so does Ricciardo. And we both run off the track, but luckily I've taken first place and Ricciardo is demoted down to second place. And I've got 2 Ferraris between myself and Bottas, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's try and push on here and try and get away from these guys. Okay, so the light rain is going to be with us for a while, so I'm guessing we're going to be probably coming in for another set of inters and not going straight to dries. I was hoping to go straight to dries because it is expected to dry out by the end of the race. Instead, I think we're just staying out on inters for a little bit longer, so I might have to do a pit stop for another set of inters because I've done a few mistakes around this circuit in the wet conditions, staying out too long like in Carp, so I want to avoid basically chewing my tyres and then getting to a point where I either coming for dryers on a wet track or I just come in for inters and lose a heap of time. So right now the pace is good. Fast up at the Grand Prix, I'm on the money here, and this track is suiting my car, and also the wet conditions are making it just that much easier for me to really excel around here. So right now things are looking pretty damn good for me. It looks like Ricciardo and Vettel are coming in for a little bit of a scrap between themselves, so that's going to help me gain a bit of time. As long as they don't crash each other out and Bottas gets second place, then that's good for me, because I want Bottas to lose as many points as possible here today. I don't know what it is about the circuit, but I'm absolutely on fire around here. I've got almost 5 seconds to Vettel behind, who's got past Ricciardo. Those guys having a scrap. Meanwhile, I'm really setting the tone up front and just in a race of my own, which is absolutely incredible. And I never thought I'd be saying this in the Audi car, but the wet conditions have blessed us at the right time. The upgrades on the car in Belgium worked beautifully, and it's all come together for me around here today. And now Bottas is in P3, which isn't great, so Ricciardo is starting to drop through the field here. But as long as he doesn't get P2, that's fine. If he does get P2, then whatever, but I really want Bottas to not get second place. My pace has dropped off slightly, but I'm still the fastest man on the circuit. I'm now 7 seconds clear of Seb Vettel, and Ricciardo's another 3 seconds down the road, so I'm 10 seconds clear of Valtteri Bottas basically. And the pit window is now open, so I'm going to pick this up for intermediates because the rain is still no signs of drying out on the radio, so we could be going into this to the end possibly. So I'm going to pin this lap, and then it's going to be at least another 9 laps on into. So we'll see around lap 18 or something what happens, but for now, end of this lap, I'm coming in for another set of intermediate tyres. Okay, then through the chicane, we're going to come in now for our first stop of the race. First set of inters, and not make the same mistake as I did in Carp. So here we go, let's get it all slowed down, make sure we hit our marks, no need to speed, and there we go, nice, comfortable pit entry. I think everyone's going to be in behind us, but we're just going to take it nice and easy to the pit lane, do our thing. We shouldn't get held up by anybody because we're far down the pit lane. Vettel's in, Ricciardo stays out, Bottas I think stays out, which is quite interesting. And we're going to see now what happens strategy-wise. So either way, it's very interesting here. 2.4 pit stop, pretty damn good. And let's see if we can rejoin just behind this car that's coming down the pit straight now, which is Max Verstappen. And I think Alonso's right behind him. Yeah, there he is. So we're going to rejoin in P5, so not too bad. These guys are going pretty slow, I'm not going to lie. One of Verstappen's got maybe some sort of front wing damage or something, but they are going very slow here. So I might try and line them up for a move. I'll just lose the back end slightly there, but I think I'm looking at the hairpin, I'm thinking to myself I can go for a little dive on Alonso here because I'm losing time, and this is allowing Ricciardo and Bottas, who are on the overcut strategy, to gain time on me. So I need to make the move now and not waste much more time as Alonso breaks through the corner there. But I'm going to go up the inside on the brakes in the hairpin, make it a nice easy move, squirt the power on a little bit, get it on nice and early, nice clean traction on the exit, and now we're right at the back of Max Verstappen, and I think we're now pretty much equal in terms of straight line speed with the Red Bull now, if not slightly faster. So here we go, getting a time on Verstappen. I was going to think about the move there, but I thought better of it. I could have gone for the lunge because Verstappen seems to be struggling on his tyres a bit, but I'm going to make it a nice, comfortable move on this back straight here. Hopefully if I can get past him before 130, that would be great because I can then take the normal racing line. But it's going to be hard here. I think Verstappen's actually cranking up the engine here, and oh my god, he's actually pulling away from me right then. So Verstappen's going to hold on. I'm going to brake early, get a better line through 130R, use all the track at my disposal, and then just get it on the brakes. Let's have it up the inside. There we go, nice move. That's what I'm talking about. And now Ricciardo and Bottas are in the pit lane, so they're coming in for their first stops of the race. I wonder if Bottas would have lost any time. Either way, Alonso and Verstappen now pit, so I'm going to rejoin in first place. I'm going to retake first place more like, and yeah, I think Vettel is going to be behind me in second, so good stint there. And now we've got to just try and push even more on this compound, so let's go. Right, there we go, fast up of the race once again, and Jeff just said on the radio, 15 minutes of rain, so now the track is going to start drying up. by my estimation, this track does drive very slowly, so we may not even go to dryers now in this circuit, so we'll just play it by ear and see how it goes, but I'm not expecting it to dry it before the end of the race, and if it does, I don't even know there'd be point to go to dry tyres unless we've got a huge gap. Car feels absolutely incredible. I think I'm going to set another fastest lap, even though I've had that little mistake there. The car is just absolutely flying around here. Another 4 tenths off the fastest lap, 7.3 clear of Vettel and almost 6 seconds clear of Ricciardo. I'm starting to really establish dominance here at Japan around a track that definitely suits my car better than the last two, and with the upgrades that we have, you can really notice the difference now that on these sort of neutral tracks, the car is a much more competitive package. Oh, VSC deployed. I'm going to guess that's because of Felix Rosenqvist. I did drive past him and he had some damage. Like, I think his left rear or front right or front left came off and his car's just in the middle of the track. So that's Rosenqvist who's out of the race and that's what's triggered it. But we're comfortable at the moment in P1. Bottas is now going to P3, but I've got about 8 seconds on Sebastian Vettel and the rain is meant to dry in about 5 minutes time. So we'll have to see how this one patterns out, but right now there is a small possibility of going on to dryers. Right, so Bottas has stayed out for one more lap. Vettel's come in under the VSC for a pit stop. So that's a very interesting strategy from Vettel, I've got to say. I don't know what's going to happen now, whether Bottas will pit, but either way, we'll have to see what happens. And we're going to get back on the way in the safety car here after the VSC ends. So right, let's just crack on here. I've got a comfortable cushion. I think all they are going to do one more stop for Inter as well. I'm going to stay out because I think I can go to dryers, if not get these to the end either way. So let's just see how this one unfolds. I don't know what this is, but it seems to be some sort of glitch, because basically Felix Rosenqvist went out the race a few laps ago, and every lap I drive past him, but he keeps on moving forward on the track, even though he's only got 3 wheels. And I drove past him last lap, and for some reason he doesn't seem to ghost, he stays solid as I drive past, so I just wonder if he's glitched out in his retirement, and he's just sitting on the track, and everyone keeps driving into the back of him, and in terms of the AI cars, and they keep on pushing him along, and also damaging their own car in the process. But Rosenqvist was back here at the spoon a few laps ago, and now I think he's pretty much at the final chicane, and every lap he's just moving further and further forward, so that is really, really odd. As you can see, we're going to approach him now. Yellow flag. So here he is. I mean, I think someone's pushing him now as we speak. Let's have a look. Okay, I think now he's officially gone. I think Rosenqvist has disappeared, but that was really weird. I don't know what's happened there, but yeah, he seemed to be collecting people, as I've now lost an end plate. Distraction. Right, I should be okay. I've got 20 seconds in my pocket. The tyres are going, but there shouldn't be any major damage. Right, let's keep an eye on the tyres and on the track. The rain has stopped, but the track is still absolutely soaking wet. I can't see me going on to dryers in this race because the rain just takes so long to just drain away on this circuit. It's happened before in every other series I've recorded when there's been a wet to dry race. So I think it's going to be Inters to the end. I've got to nurse these tyres and broken front wing to the finish line. Right then, it's been a very convincing performance here today, and I've absolutely dominated the field, and it wasn't one that I saw coming, but I can't remember the last time I genuinely dominated a race like that. But as you can see, my tyres are absolutely gone now. They're shot to bits. Vettel is now 9 seconds behind me. A bit of front wings damage. I'm going to limp home, but wow, what a race it's been. I've really enjoyed this one. Just absolute control. And here we go through the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix and pick up a big 25 points for the World Drivers' Championship. And that is a big result for us, and that's going to be a massive boost for the championship. And Valtteri Bottas is going to need a miracle, because if I get 5 points in the next race, more than him, then the championship is coming to me next race, and you can bank on the fact I'm going to try and make that happen. But overall, I was Japan, and we're now going to move into the drivers and constructors and final race results. So there we have it then. Like I said, I do apologise for the lack of drivers and constructors standings, but these are the final race results, and that result means that basically, I'll tell you guys so you know, we only need 5 points over Bottas in the next race to win the World Drivers' Championship. So if I win the next race, it's game over for Valtteri Bottas. So if I can win the next race in Kota, I am the world champion. It's as simple as that. So that's all I've got to do. So Bottas has got his work cut out to try and match me. So in the race results wise, obviously as you can see, he finished in P3, recovering quite nicely through the field and managed to get a pretty good result in the end. Vettel though, really good second place for him there in Ferrari, and obviously Ricciardo, who led for quite a while, eventually dropping down to P4. But overall, a very interesting race here in Japan. If you guys have enjoyed it, then please do smash the like button. Also, if you're new here, why not subscribe to my channel for future F1 content like this. And I do apologise, this video is a little bit shorter, but because I was leading, there wasn't much going on. And this is one of them races where, because if you're leading, there's not really much you can do. So overall, I do apologise for that, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it nonetheless. And I'm going to try and get the next episode out tomorrow for codes. So I hope you guys do look forward to that one. But thank you guys ever so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.